In northeast Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, we have the Kensington neighborhood. This neighborhood spans from about 3 to 5 dozen blocks with many avenues in between. Among these avenues, we find Kensington Ave and Allegheny Ave, as well as many other small streets surrounding them. What Kensington, Philadelphia is most known for currently is its harrowing environment that is home to what is known as the Kensington Zombies. This title is given to the people who inhabit the streets of this neighborhood, such as the avenues of Allegheny and Kensington, many of which are homeless and tend to be addicted to various illicit drugs. Many of the homeless and drug addicted take to the streets here because of the ease in which they're able to obtain drugs in this area. These drugs tend to be opioids such as fentanyl, heroin, codeine, etc. At first glance, what we have here are drug addicts, the homeless, and those who are mentally ill, but there's always more to the story. When standing on the outside looking in, we tend to only see things at the surface level. As someone who lives in this neighborhood who teeters on the line between the outside and the inside, those of us who have a normal, stable life and those of us who are homeless, drug addicted, and are mentally ill, I'm able to see and access much more of the situation here in Kensington than others. Do you have, brothers and sisters?
I do. Little complicated. I was adopted, so I have 4 brothers, 5 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So I have half brother and half sister. I think another half brother that I haven't met.
What I see here aren't just drug addicts. I see people here who all have their own stories and lives that they've lived. People who have had no choice but to be on the street. People who may have pre-existing mental health issues that lead them to poverty and homelessness. And people who truly do choose to live here because this is where they're able to get their fix. There is so much more depth to the people who live here than most people tend to believe. But this isn't something many people see. Many choose to ignore this. And this disconnection and ignorance that people on the outside tend to have towards those on the inside is a huge problem.
We're not just animals.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know what the answer is exactly. They're like where the understanding needs to fall at.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yes.
You know? Because there's a lot of disrespect from addicts and alcoholics. And vice versa with people that aren't in addiction. I just lately it's been, I don't know, it's bad out here. It's really bad.
Despite the motives and causes that lead those to addiction and homelessness, the people here are still people. There is a large problem here that helps lead to addiction, homelessness, and untreated mental health issues, and that problem is disconnection. This very disconnection is what helps to lead and keep people living on the streets, people addicted to drugs, and people with untreated mental illnesses. This disconnection is what allows us on the outside to be able to look away and to create these preconceived notions of negativity towards those who we observe from outside the situational bubble, because it simply doesn't affect us.
I'd like people to try to figure out a way we can help one another.
Yeah.
As opposed to pushing each other away and seeing it as them versus us. The other day when I was on the train, some people were smoking some drugs, right? And honestly, the way they responded, I don't think, because getting used to doing, you know what I mean? I don't think that they even realized kind of at first. Because when the guy turned around and said something, they were like, oh my God. I honestly think it was, not that they shouldn't know, because they should know, but it wasn't like they did it on purpose, like, oh, forget that type of thing. But the guy turned around and said, there's regular people on here. And I was like, that might just be a simple statement, but it carries a lot of weight.
There is this mentality of them versus us that we must first acknowledge within ourselves and our own attitudes, regardless of what side of the bubble we exist within, before we can begin creating change within ourselves and our communities. Because it isn't just Kensington that's experiencing these problems from homelessness and drug addiction, but countless other neighborhoods all across the nation.
I realized I can only ultimately change me. I mean, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, I will always be, but it doesn't mean I have to be in it.
Yeah.
I don't have to be active in addiction.
We must grow our awareness, compassion, and empathy in a way that includes these people we categorize as other and seeks to understand them and their perspective. We cannot create change if we do not first acknowledge our own attitudes and behaviors and seek to understand the perspectives and circumstances of others in a way that exhibits compassion rather than judgment. That's about all my questions, but is there anything else that you want to share or want people to know about?
Just, maybe, hopefully that, like I said, maybe that they can look at themselves, like, what have I been doing recently? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have I been helping or have I been hurting
Yeah.
the situation?